right, everybody, welcome on in to NorCal Sports Network. And the San Francisco Giants and the longest winning streak of the season comes to an end at 5 games. There you have it. That sums up the season right there, guys. 5-game winning streak, longest of the season, comes to an end, and that'll be it for the Giants this year. Nothing can be longer than what they just did. 5 games, and they are a game under 500 at 79-80. Need to win the series at home starting Friday against St. Louis to get to 500. And yes, I'm watching the Padres game as well. It's in the bottom of the 7th. I've got it right here. I got to keep the sound down. Bora will join us a little bit later. He's wrapped up the earlier show on fantasy football on here on NorCal Sports Network, and now he'll be joining us in 20 minutes or so. Got to grab something to eat. You got to have some time to eat when you're doing these shows. So we will carry on here. Lou is in Atlanta in a he's in the Hurricane District. The Atlanta Braves have been rained out. The Mets Braves vital 2-game series has been postponed till Monday as a doubleheader. They've already canceled earlier tonight's game and tomorrow night's game, and Friday's game's in jeopardy. Rain is expected in Atlanta to not subside until sometime Friday afternoon. Hopefully that happens. Otherwise, the Braves are going to have to play a doubleheader on Saturday against the Royals in Atlanta, and then another doubleheader on Monday. And then if they sneak into the playoffs, they'd have to play Tuesday and travel. So, because the Padres, with one more win, lock up the 4th seed and the first wild card. So let me get this game pulled back up. Bottom of the 7th right now, 4-3. Hopefully my volume's down. I'm going to watch this game on my phone here. Yep, it's 4-3. Will Smith at the plate. 2 runners on. It looks like Freeman and I don't know who else is on, but we'll check this game out. There it is right there, guys. Oops, we'll get rid of the box score. Hold on here. There you go. Live action right there. No dots here, baby. We're watching. We got the game. I'll show you anything that comes good, anything that's good that comes up. We've got 4-3 Dodgers, bottom of the 7th, 2 men on, 1 out, and Will Smith at the plate there. Giants game was not a game tonight. An 8-2 laugher for the D-backs. D-backs had to win. Giants are just playing out the string with pride, you know. So, hey, great road trip so far. They are, or they finished the road trip, I should say, at 7-2. Here, I thought they'd go 2-7. Shows you what I know. 2-7, and they go 7-2. So 2-2 count. Muncy on first, Freeman on second. I believe it's Muncy. Wait a minute. No, it's not Muncy. It's Will Smith. Ground all to short, to second for 1, to back to first, double play, and the Padres get out of the inning. What's this Muncy walked? Muncy hasn't even come up. He's up. Oh, yes, he was. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong part of the box score. My bad. You were right, Red. Okay. Did I see Bleacher Report into season farm rankings? Yes, Ray, I did. Giants are ranked dead last. Yes. Yep. Dead last. All they got is Bryce Eldridge. I'm telling you, this is a long process for the Giants, especially with Farhan. Your only chance to get better is to get rid of some of your best guys that are and rebuild this thing. TN on the show the other night was right. The Giants need to rebuild it. If they can't go out and get top guys, they need to overhaul it. Per Andrew Baggerly, San Jose Sharks says the Giants' top brass said it's time to move on from certain people. That would be good news. Hey, if you guys are watching us, hit that like button. Hey, Robert Brown, haven't seen you for a couple nights. Good to see you. Good road trip, but frustrating that came when nothing mattered. Exactly. Came when nothing mattered. They go 7-2. They're now 79-80. My guess is they finish 500. They win 2 of 3 against St. Louis, and they go 81-81. So we shall see. Cardinals are now what is the Cardinals record? Cardinals are 81-77. They got a game tomorrow. So if Cardinals win that, they should that'll guarantee them a winning season. This point really doesn't matter. Hold on, guys, as I seek the pull this game back up here. What happened? I lost my TV coverage. Here we go. Back to TV. Nick says enough of Mason suck. Mason Black. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. Padres lead it off. Tatis lines out to left field. That is that Teoscar out there? Yep, Teoscar Hernandez out in left field. And one out. Blake Trinan on the mound for the Dodgers. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to sweep. Exactly, Mark. As long as the 81, I think Mark, wasn't his first bet 81.5? 81.5. Dan, at least the Giants took the series. Nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, I mean, hey, they beat a playoff potential team. Diamondbacks are fighting for their lives. Robert Brown, Giants frustrating because most of their runs were by the home run, which doesn't play at home. Exactly. Yeah, Hiroku, you're exactly right. Matos can't get playing time with the club, but McRae can hit under 200, and Conforto still gets the at-bats. The Giants organization and Melvin suck. Yeah, the Giants are one of the dumbest organizations in baseball. Absolutely a dumbass organization. 2 outs. Profar just went down, called strike 3. So that was Profar, wasn't it? Yeah, that's Profar. Just looking by. So you're exactly right, Hiroku. This team is just run by a bunch of buffoons. Look, Brett Wisely's playing in this series over Casey Schmidt. I don't care what Brett Wisely hit a 3-run homer last night. He's not your future. You've got to find out what Casey can do. Give him as many at-bats as possible so that he can work on adjustments in the offseason. Casey Schmidt should be possibly your everyday shortstop. Tonight, I saw a routine grounder that Corbin Carroll, was it Carroll? It was a slow grounder, but Fitzgerald charges it, and he doesn't have the arm to throw out Carroll. I'm telling you, Casey Schmidt would have thrown that guy out. And you're right. Schmidt comes in, he hits at third, he plays flawless defense at third. And what do the Giants do? They block their only potential Gold Glove player, a guy that actually, in my view, can do close to what Chapman can do for half, not even half a fraction of the cost. Casey Schmidt, you can pay him the league minimum. And I'm telling you, Chapman is not going to follow up. He might have another good year in him next year, but I don't think so. I think he's got his bag. I think he's going to get comfortable. I think he's going to go back to, his ways of struggling at the plate, up and down, very, very hot and cold. And I think the Giants are going to regret that contract big time, especially the last 3 years. The second half of that contract, they're going to hate it. They're going to go, crap. We got a $25 million hole that we can't do nothing with. The guy's now 35, and he's not producing in the offense, and he's hitting, 230 with 18 homers and 69 RBIs, and the Giants are going to be stuck with that. And that's what you're going to get the last 3 years of that contract. Like I said, he might have another year or so, but look at the offense. Everybody thinks Matt Chapman's having this incredible, great year. And for him, he is, but he's only got 75 RBIs, I think. Isn't it 75? I'm going to look it up here. Let me, before I speak too fast. Oops, I don't want that. I want Baseball Reference. Matt Chapman, give me about 20 seconds, guys, and I'll have this thing up for you. Maybe less than 20 seconds. How's that? How about in 3 seconds I'll have it up? Okay, Matt Chapman, 78 RBIs. I stand corrected. The guy's going to end up with 80 plus, right around 80 RBIs with 27 homers. That just tells you how empty that is. His OPS is less than 100. 800, less than 800, which is, that's okay, but that's your $25 million man. 78 RBIs with 27 homers. Are you serious? So to me, I call them garbage time stats. Hollow. They're hollow stats because, look at this. Yeah, Chapman, great year, under 250 and under 80 RBIs, like his career. Exactly. This is why I didn't want the signing in the offseason, because I told you that they're not ready to win. They're not ready to win, and you just basically gave up on Casey Schmidt ever playing third base for the San Francisco Giants unless there's an injury to Chapman, which we don't hope for at all. But, Giovanni, good for you. You believe Dave Fleming because they're set up to be good next year. He thought they were going to be good this year, a playoff team. Yeah, I know, Mark. 2019, he only had 90 RBIs, I think, 91 RBIs with 36 homers. Matt Chapman does not hit. Okay, here's his stats. In 2019, he had 36 homers, 91 RBIs, hit 249. The guy's hit over 250 once in 8 years. He's hit as high as 278 and as low as 210. His lifetime batting average is 241. And he's pretty much near that this year. You know where Matt Chapman is hitting after tonight? Matt Chapman, I will tell you, as I look at the box score, Matt Chapman, another 0 for 4 night, 246. He's not dropping that much because he's got so many at-bats. But Matt Chapman, 246. Okay. So I don't see it. I don't see the love fest. Great third baseman, excellent base runner, great clubhouse presence, a leader, plays the games. He's valuable. I get it. He's a valuable player, but he's not valuable on this team. The Giants just don't have the guys to support Matt Chapman, or I should say for Matt Chapman to support them, because he's not the ringleader to make this team go. If you're building around Matt Chapman, look, I've said many times, Matt Chapman would be the finishing piece for a New York Yankees, a LA Dodgers, okay, Baltimore Orioles, team like that. Matt Chapman would be. You put Matt. You know what you could have done this year, guys? You could have traded Matt Chapman and Blake Snell, and you could have got a haul from the Baltimore Orioles. You could have got a haul from them, because I think Matt Chapman and Blake Snell would push the Orioles to the favorites in the American League. But they're not doing any of that kind of stuff. Fleming said Chapman's a Hall of Famer. Come on. The guy's not a Hall of Famer. He's made one All-Star team in his career. If I pull up Matt Chapman's stats for you guys, look, if he's a Hall of Famer, then Brandon Crawford should be a Hall of Famer, because you're talking about defense. And we know that's not the case. Look, you want to see Matt Chapman's stats? There they are, guys. There's Matt Chapman's stats. I'll blow them up for you. Home runs, he's got 182. Come on. How is Matt Chapman a Hall of Famer? Will Clark should be a Hall of Famer if Matt Chapman's a Hall of Famer. Gosh, look at his batting average, 241. That's pathetic. On base percentage, 329. A lifetime OPS under 800. This is not a major star, people. He's an excellent Gold Glove, platinum third baseman. Lou, hello from Atlanta. Stats don't lie. I mean, he's not the Lou. There's Lou's comment from Atlanta, from rainy Atlanta. Robert Brown, do you have Chapman's runners and scoring position average? You know, how can I pull that up? Let me look and see if they have that on advanced batting stats here. Advanced batting. I'm looking. Batting with runners, batted ball, exit velocity is good. Am I missing something, guys? Advanced, more advanced. I want to see advanced batting. I want to see with runners in scoring position. Tell me if I'm missing it, guys. RISP ratio batting. Here's some pretty interesting stats. Home run percentage. Look at his strikeout percentage. 26.8 over his career. Based on balls, 10.5. That's not bad. He's higher than the league average. He hits a home run every 20.3 at bats. I don't see runners in scoring position. Situational batting. Here we go. Situational batting. Does anybody tell me? I'm looking at this and I'm not looking at the chat. So let me see. What is PTN? Percentage of plate appearances with platoon advantage, bunt hits. I'm trying to find out. Total number of base runners when batter at plate. Total runners scored by batter. Percentage of all base runners who scored on the batter's play. Not necessarily an RBI. Advances. I got to go back and look at the. I got to look at the chat because while I'm working on this, guys, I'm looking at the big screen and blowing that up. So Marcus Tanner says Chapman is a rally killer. So even if San Francisco Giants get 2 or 3 good at bats to push Chapman down on the batting order, opposing team will potentially base on ball hitters in front of Chapman to get to a rally killer. That's what Chapman is. Yeah, he is a rally killer. He really is. Yeah, 25 is a lot for a guy. Nick says go to the splits at the top, at the drop down bar at the top. Okay, let me go there. Go to the splits at the top drop down bar. Where's this? Hold on. Splits. Am I in the wrong spot? I need Bora in here so I can be managing this and he could be, or him manage this. Hold on, guys. I don't know where I'm looking on here. Go to the splits. I shoot. While like I said, while I'm looking at this, I can't see the chat. Nick says no. Splits. Okay, so let me go to the splits. Player. Oh, the splits are way back down here, I think, guys. Where am I? Further down. Splits. Career splits. Platoon splits. That gives us platoon splits. I still don't see runners in scoring position. Game outcome leading off. Here's some oops. Hold on. Batting order positions. His highest batting average is 261 batting, or 262 batting 7th. 274, guys. There it is. Batting 8th. That's his highest batting average, 274. He's got 333 with only, 3 at bats, batting 9th, 1 for 3. That's no, but 274 with 113 at bats, 262. That's his most, 553 at bats. See when the guy bats 3rd, 4th, or 5th, he's 233, 229, 220, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and that's exactly where the Giants have had him. Wow. That tells you something right there. Let me go look at the comments, what you guys are saying. Nick came into the chat to help me out. Okay, here we go. Hey, Nick. Tell me where I need to go. You there, Nick? Okay, Padres got a man on second with 2 out.
I think I'm in.
Hey, Nick. Top of the ninth, Padres man on second with 2 out. Donovan Solano up to the plate.
Donnie Barrels.
Yeah, see what happens here.
Yeah, I think if you keep scrolling down, eventually you'll find scoring position with 2 outs, and all that.
Okay. Oh, he struck him out. Solano struck out, ends the game. Dodgers now are up by 3 with 4 to go. Michael Kopech with the save. 4-3, Dodgers win. They're going to hold them off, it looks like. And Padres only need one more win.
Kopech was an electric pickup for them.
Yeah. Padres need one more win to end up with the guaranteed number 1 wild card, the 4th seed. Once they get to 92, they've got the tiebreaker over the Mets. And the Mets are the only team right now that can win 92, but they've got to win all 5 games they have. The Mets are currently 87-70, I believe. So we're going to get into that too, guys, tonight. We're going to talk about the tiebreakers that could happen between the Mets and the Braves, and who holds
they
the
have that
tiebreaker.
game on Monday, right? Because
it's going to be a doubleheader
out today.
Yeah, it's going to be a doubleheader unless the second game is not necessary. It's very possible that the second game is not necessary. It depends on what Arizona does with San Diego. If Arizona sweeps San Diego, because San Diego may not be playing for much, they
might rest.
Yeah, one loss by the Mets or one win by the Padres gives the Padres home field advantage for that first series. So the Padres are going to try and
win one. Yeah.
Yeah, try and win one. If they win tomorrow, they're 2 games behind the Dodgers, and they hold the tiebreaker over the Dodgers. They will go into Arizona to try and beat them and sweep them and hope the Dodgers lose 2 or 3 to Colorado as the Dodgers did just this past weekend. But
well, because the Padres lost and the Dodgers beat them, I think the Padres have to sweep the Diamondbacks, and then the Dodgers have to lose all 3, whoever they're playing, which isn't very realistic, I don't think. Yeah. Who are the Dodgers playing?
They are playing the Rockies this weekend in Colorado.
Oh, God. Yeah, forget about that.
Let's get to the super chat. Oh, Ryan, Conforto would have had more home runs than Chapman if he played as many at bats, I think is what he's saying, if he played the whole year. What do you think of that, Nick?
Well, I think Conforto, he did get they did bench him against lefties a little too much.
Well, he hit over 300.
The problem with Conforto, I'm kind of with him too. We
got a bad connection.
He was on a real
Nick on your end. I'm not sure if it's are you on the internet calling in? Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on?
Yeah, let me switch to Wi-Fi. Hold on.
Hey guys, I don't know what's going on here with the internet. Are you there, Nick? Okay. What the heck's going on here? Hold on. Let me get back to this. Jason L says Dodgers always win the division no matter what. Sure seems like that. Yeah, sure does. Robert Brown says Conforto doesn't get the at-bats due to being injured for an extended period every year. Yeah, best ability is availability. Got to be available. Got hurt last year too much, then got hurt again this year. Yep. Hiroku says it. That's on Conforto. Yeah, you got to be available. Bad back, chronic back. Yeah. Yeah, those Tigers, they keep winning. Dang, those Tigers are. What do we got? Some Trout talk here? No to Trout, injury prone, and now he's got a bad back. Yeah, who's wanting Trout? I was wanting Trout a few years ago. Not anymore. He's washed. He can't stay healthy. Cannot stay healthy. I don't know what happened to the hold on one sec, guys. I've got to figure out what happened to my internet. So let me bring in Nick here and see if he's Nick, you there?
Can you hear me?
A little bit, yeah. Carry on. I'll be right back. Talk to the chat. I'll be right back.
I can't really. Oh, I can hit chat and see. Let's see.
Oh, you can't hit the chat, but you can look at it.
Yeah, I can look at it from the stream.
I'll be back I'll be back in less than 45 seconds. I just got to make sure I don't got too much on because I was going out when you were going out. I'm not sure if I'll be right back.
All right. Well, the chat thing isn't really loading on the phone, so let me go back. See what the chat's saying. Start all says hi. So yeah, I'll address what Ryan was saying. You know, Conforto's problem was he was on a roll, and then he had the hamstring injury, kind of set him back, and then it took him a while to.
Hey, Nick, can you hear me? Your connection's really, really bad. Maybe it's best to call on the phone. You want to call in on the phone?
Yeah, I could do that. What's the number?
All right. Yeah, it's let me go grab it. I'll put it up here on the screen. I got to go get the phone and I'll put it up there. Okay, it's right there on the screen. If you could see it, I'll be right back. All right. Nick should be calling in here in a sec here. Go ahead and call now, Nick. I've got the phone here. So we'll NorCal Sports Phone right here. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Much better. Okay. So we were looking at these stats, and I was trying to find. It's interesting his batting average in the batting order when he's at, and then he's like any baseball player, he's really good with when he's ahead in the count. He hits 389 on the first pitch, 346 with a 1-0 count, 429 with a 2-0 count. That you got to be kidding. He's only his whole career. He's only had three with a 3-0 count. He's 0 for 3. He's only swung it 3 times with a 3-0 count. That's crazy.
Yeah. That is, well, that's probably because he was Oakland A's. I'm pretty sure they bench you for a week if you swing 3-0 in the A's.
Oh man, but when he's with a 0-2 count, he's 127. Yeah.
Wait, they're saying they can't hear me in the chat. Wait, Ryan, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear him now? You can't hear Nick?
I think they can hear me. I think it was just because I was not saying anything at first. Okay, yeah, they got me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at these stats here. See if I can bases occupied.
Yeah, I think if you keep scrolling.
Clutch stats. Here we go. Clutch. Here we go.
Yeah, at the top, go back up or you could do that too. But yeah.
Okay, here we go.
It's 2 outs, runners in scoring position. You see he's hitting 218.
Yeah. Can you see it up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, 218.
But if you go up, scroll up first real quick.
This way?
No, up the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I'll tell you when to stop. No, keep going. Oh, I think I'm delayed. Shit.
With power, finesse, pitchers, ground ball, fly ball, hit location, hit trajectory, opponent, split, game conditions, ballparks. Gosh, this has everything. I forgot. It's been a while since I've scrolled this low. Let's see. We want to go.
No, yeah. Scroll up the page, like back up. Yeah. It was right before the clutch section. It was like.
Okay.
I'll tell you when to stop. Let's see. There.
Bases occupied. Okay.
RISP right there. Yeah, see, he's career 245 hitter with runners in scoring position.
Where do you see that?
It's right there at the top where it just says RISP. He's got 10.
Oh, right there. Yeah, RISP. Okay. 245. But I wish I could find that for this year and the last, because I think he's probably worse.
I looked at it I think you may have clicked career.
I did.
I looked at it while you, for this year, he's hitting 234.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. So, we all say that Chapman's a good player. We're not saying he's not a good player. He's just not the guy to give a 6-year deal to. The only thing that would be worth the 6-year deal, and this is the only thing, is if he brought you Soto, Adames, and say a Santander, a Teoscar or something, 3 everyday players that and somebody, but they need guys that can hit, have a low K rate. They got too many guys on this team. What do you think about that, Nick? Do you think it's the philosophy of the hitting coaches, or is it the players, or a combination? Because I've never seen a team have such home run swings with 2 strikes. They're just going for it, and they don't try and just make contact.
Yeah, I think it's the organizational philosophy, but also, like, you have to understand too, like, they are targeting players that fit what they want to do. So, like, they value Chapman more than very big on contact. So they would never be in on Chapman. But the Giants, they're the type of team that would look at his StatCast page, see the high exit velocities.
Right.
Oh, wow, we really got a good hitter here. But hitting is nuanced. It's not just power. And he does have good power.
Yeah, it's good power, good, excellent
he's
velocity.
A useless player. But he's not who you want up with the game on the line.
Right. Exactly. He's going to come through.
And I'll say this, like, as far as the contract goes, I'll admit I've grown on Chapman. He's had a good second half. I don't hate him as much as I did in the first part of the season.
Right.
Really like just tanking every at bat. But here's the thing: I don't mind the contract as long as they aren't chintzy and they go out and spend. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to
Right.
go actually spend on impact, but if this is your only move, then we need to develop and rebuild, and he doesn't fit that at all. So I'm hoping, because of the story that came out with Buster, getting to the finish line with the deal, I'm pretty sure Buster is going to have a pretty big say on who gets hired to replace Farham. And he's got a direct line to the ownership group. So I'm guessing this signals that Buster has told ownership, hey, it's time to spend. This can't happen again. Like these mediocre seasons are done. So if they do go out and prove that they spend and they get an Adames, I don't expect Soto, although it'd be nice. But if they can go get an Adames and maybe re-sign Snell and maybe add another bat via trade, then I'm okay with it, because I think Chapman will be good. I mean, it depends on what your idea of good is. If you're okay with him hitting seventh and playing great defense for 3 years, it'll be an okay deal, but he's not going to age well. Once he hits 34, 35, it's not going to be, you're paying for the front end of that deal.
Yeah, I'm okay with it the first few years. If they pretty much do what they've been doing and add mid-level guys that are not contact hitters, this is going to be a disaster, because there's nothing on the farm coming up. Bleacher Report ranked them 30th out of 30 teams today.
Yeah, I saw that. And, I took a lot of shit from not you guys, but like people on Twitter, because I kept saying the whole year, once Luciano and Harrison exhaust their prospect eligibility, there was nothing left. There is Eldridge,
right?
But the other top guys,
they're too far away.
And then Wisenhunt had a poor season, so he was a top 100 guy before the season, but he did not have a good year.
Correct.
So when I saw that was happening, I'm like, wow, we're really thin, especially on the hitting side. I actually think there's some arms that are underrated or could maybe, experience a breakthrough with a new regime. But the hitting side, if you want to talk about contact, like Walker Martin, man, this guy, he was the high school pick, the second round pick.
Yep,
he was
out of Colorado.
The round after Eldridge.
Correct.
Take a look at his numbers this year, and I don't want to pile on him.
Well, he's got about a 40% K rate, right?
Yeah, he and it got even worse when they promoted him to San Jose. Like, he cannot make contact. It's crazy.
Wow.
And I was watching some of the games that San Jose was playing, and it was just heater after heater after heater, and he just could not touch it. So you never want to call a guy like that a bust, because he's only 20,
right?
Not a good start to his pro career,
right? Well, Matt Williams had a really, really hard time, even his first 3 years in the majors, hitting the ball, curveball. He couldn't hit it to save his life. Had to make the adjustments. Finally did. Had a good pedigree that was in him. He was a star player out of Nevada coming out of high school, and then I think he had a year, maybe junior college or something. He was really highly touted.
I think Williams, I could be wrong. He was a little bit before my time. I saw him towards the tail end when I first started getting into baseball. But even when he figured it out, he still kind of struggled with swing and miss his whole career, right?
Let me look at him, because that's a good point, because the first 3 years he was awful. He hit 200. Right. He literally hit 200 and had but he corrected it and became a pretty good hitter. Let me see here. Matt Williams, is this the one I want here? Yes, I want this. Wait a minute. Why do we got Matt Williams? How many Matt Williams are there? Okay, I want this Matt Williams, 87 to 03. Wow. Okay, Matt Williams, I'll put his stats up here just so you can see him as well. All right, they're up there now. Matt Williams, his strikeout percentage. I mean, his first year hit 188, then 205, then 202. He had in his first 3 years, he had 700 roughly at bats, 8 homers, 18, and then in his fourth year hit 33 homers, 122 RBIs,
Wow.
and hit 277, 807 OPS. And the next year, 98 RBIs, 34 homers. And then, he was, his OPS, he was in the 8s and 9s, 1,000 1 year. Only, let me see what.
Yeah, his strikeout rate's not even bad compared to these days.
Yeah, look at his strikeouts. He struck out less than 100 times in many games. Yeah, it's so he was. If you look at his season where he had 619, well, here's 619 at bats. He only struck out 80 times. That's really pretty good.
Yeah, that would be like top of the league contact rates these days.
Well, the game's changed so much because these guys don't know how to hit anymore. All they do is go for the fences. It's all because of analytics. They think that the four bagger is more productive than trying to get 3 hits to get a run.
Yeah, well, and that's my problem with Chapman is he, like if you want even a guy like Jung-Hoo Lee, you see, he can change his swing depending on the pitch where, he could go down and hit the down pitch. He can, adjust. Chapman has no adjust. He has one swing and one swing only.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's
it. The funny thing is even Eldridge, I've been watching him even against minor leaguers. You can tell, even though he's a tall guy, you think he would have a big strikeout problem. He has an ability to adjust his swing on the pitch type, which makes me think, I don't want to put undue hype on him, but I think I don't think he's just going to be a power guy. I think he's going to hit 280 plus.
Yeah, he does. He has a good stroke. He does not. The Giants, when I watched them, I remember just seeing Fitzgerald tonight come up in the 9th, and I saw this big giant uppercut, and the ball was a foot below his bat. And I thought to myself, what are these guys swinging at? Where's their swing? They have one swing path. You don't see guys go out and poke it into right field and just stick their bat out there and on an outside pitch and just kind of lunge and hit it. They just swing, full swing.
Yeah. Well, actually, Ramos has a strikeout problem, but we actually do see him he kind of hits the ball line to line.
And he hits it hard, yeah.
And, Fitzgerald, I believe he is and he's had a good season, so I don't want to, dash him, but he's kind of he's the epitome of Giants player development where it is right now, because when I look at him, he's a speed guy. He should be putting the ball in play. They have clearly, he's struggled with strikeouts at every level of the minor leagues. And I would rather have him be an on-base batting average guy, get on and wreak havoc on the bases than be a guy who's shelling out for power. Now, he has hit 15 home runs in half the season. So it hasn't been all bad, but you would like to see him, he's at 30%, I think, strikeout. He should be below 25.
Yeah, they're going to have to restructure the team in the sense of not just the players, but they're going to have to restructure the whole method of the farm system with hitting, because you've got to find contact
I want everyone gone. Kyle Haynes.
Yeah.
All of the hitting coordinators. I'm sure some of them are good people, but this has failed. There are way too many. Luciano struggled. He struggled with swing and miss. There's been so many of these guys who have struggled with swing and miss, and it's pretty clear. You have not done a good job at development. The one guy that did break through, Ramos, was kind of by accident. because you didn't even like the guy, and you only played him because of injury.
Necessity, exactly.
So that's what the industry calls a happy mistake,
right?
And those happen sometimes, and you're grateful.
Well,
for
what
them,
irritated me about it, Nick, to be honest with you, is I saw the potential in Ramos, and so did many others. You saw that he had the tools. He just needed, the Giants never believed in him. They weren't even they didn't believe in him so much that they had Slater penciled in way ahead of him and sent him packing 2 weeks into spring training. They didn't even let Ramos showcase himself. So this was after Farhan said he regretted not giving Ramos more of a chance in the last year. This Farhan guy has said everything he says contradicts himself. Just 2 weeks ago, he said, we've got to get more vets next year. The young guy, we had too many young guys.
Up the depth,
to shore up, and then just a few days ago in the Andrew Baggerly article, he says we've got to get younger and more athletic.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too.
This guy's just a first-class clown. He doesn't know. He's just over his head. Look.
Well, I want to go on a rant real quick.
Go ahead.
Today bothers me, and I don't want to get personal with the guy. He's probably a very good kid. I am not high on Mason Black. His last pitch of the ball game, the bases are loaded. It's 3-2, and he throws that ridiculous little nickel slider. That's why we call it nickel slider, because it doesn't do much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Grichuk, or maybe I forget who the hitter was. It was right-handed hitter. He just spit on it. Like, give me a break. Are you serious? He walked in a run. Look at his ERA. I know ERA isn't everything in a small sample. The guy cannot pitch at this level unless something serious changes in the offseason. He's 92, 93 with a nickel slider. He has no changeup. And he's one of the problems. But, before September, I was actually excited for the first time this season. You know why? Because I figured, they're out of the race. They're finally going to play some of these young guys that we need to evaluate. Right. We're finally going to give Luciano an extended run. We're finally going to, stop playing Mike Yastrzemski every day and get Matos in there. And I was hoping, I mentioned this the last time I was on your show, I wanted to see, he's already on the 40-man. I wanted to see Trevor McDonald. He's had like 5 or 6 good starts in Sacramento, which is not an easy place to pitch. He has a starter's repertoire. He has 3 above average pitches with command to both sides of the plate. He's already in his first option season. It'd be nice to get him some big league experience in this meaningless part of the season. But I don't know if it's Farhan. I don't know if it's Melvin or a combination, or if it's Patilla, whoever, or maybe all of them. But you insist on keep throwing out Mason Black. And we only have 3 games left, so we're not going to get to see McDonald most likely.
Right.
And we haven't seen Matos. Matos finished the season in AAA. He's in the doghouse. We all know what happened with Luciano. You played Donnie Walton over Luciano. And like you mentioned today, Casey Schmidt. A lot of people talk shit about Casey Schmidt. He actually has hit for power at the big league level this year.
Yeah. He's actually...
I honestly think he's close to a breakthrough at the plate. But they don't play him.
I know.
So how is he going to break through if you don't play him?
Look, the guy, the one thing you have to realize about Casey Schmidt is his athleticism. He may not look athletic, but the fact is the guy can pitch. He plays an unbelievable third base. They made him learn shortstop last year, second base. He was above average at both those positions at second and short, never played there. And my thinking is and as a guy who played before, and when I had to learn a new position, it's not as you're not as relaxed at a newer position. And Casey having to play short, which is a very difficult position because you're kind of the captain of the infield. You're in the center of the diamond. You're involved in almost everything. And he's got to be thinking there. And so I think it affected his his bats, because
Yeah.
and when you saw what he did the other night when he played third in Baltimore, he was unbelievable there. And then he gets a couple of hits, knocks in winning runs, hits a home run the other night, and then they bench him. This team is so stupid, Nick. It irritates me. You're going to tell me that Brett Wisely is the guy you want to look at in the final weeks of a meaningless games?
Yeah, we've already seen enough of him.
Exactly.
He's already gotten an extended run.
Why is Casey Schmidt not getting every possible at bat and why aren't they playing him at short right now and putting Fitzgerald at second? Casey's got the better arm. And Fitzgerald is not an everyday shortstop.
He's not. No, I've said that too. And to his credit, he filled in admirably and played well for a while, but we've seen the issues prop up. And honestly, I think the Luciano outburst he had, I wasn't in the chat or on the show, and I don't know how you guys reacted. I saw that as Fitzgerald was frustrated at his own play, and probably, he probably took it out on Luciano, and maybe he didn't hear him, but I saw that as kind of like accumulation of, because if you remember before that happened, he had been on a really rough stretch defensively, and they kind of all bottled up at once. And that's not I'm not bad. Those people overreact to those things. Those things happen on the baseball field. We saw Jeff Kent, Barry Bonds choke each other. Whatever. Like I'm not killing him for it, but I think that's what happened. And he's not a shortstop. He is a super utility, which is very valuable. So I don't want to make it seem like I want Fitzgerald gone, but he's not a shortstop.
He's a utility. He's a super utility guy. Somebody asked me in the chat, Dan, didn't you say that Mark Canha would be DFA'd by September 15th? I did say that, and he should have been.
He should have been. He should have never been acquired. Yeah. What kind of point is that?
Exactly. You wasted a 40-man roster spot, and you didn't, again, let the kids play.
Own you at the Canha? He hasn't done jack squat.
Yeah, people just, I don't know, they're asking a question. Look, Canha, they're the spots that these guys use for 40. I would have rather seen Hunter Bishop take a spot. You know why? Because if you don't put him on the 40 in the offseason, he's Rule 5 eligible. And somebody will take a shot at him that's not a good team because he's not that far away, and the upside is worth the risk, the $100,000.
Yeah, he's going to, I'll make a prediction. The way the Rule 5 draft works, the White Sox are, it's not like the MLB draft. There's no lottery. So the White Sox are going to have the first pick in the Rule 5.
Right.
I don't know if they take Bishop with the first pick, but he's going to be snapped up by a team that has nothing, like a team like the White Sox. Yeah. Or even, who would actually like him, I think, would be the Rockies, because they really value the athleticism and the power.
Why didn't the Giants bring him up in September instead of Mark Canha and give the kid 30 games, give him 120 at bats, and see what he looks like in the major leagues? You can always drop him off the 40.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't.
He's already 26, I think.
Exactly. 25. And you didn't need Mark Canha. You did. There's other guys on that 40 that you don't need. And I'm going to pull up their 40 just for the heck of it right now. And I'm just curious who's on this 40-man roster that, okay, here's the 40. Okay. Bailey Beck.
I could name a couple of names before you even start who I'd want off.
Let me see if I can guess them. I bet I can guess a couple.
I'll give you a yes, sir, if you correctly guess the names.
Okay, let me look. Donovan Walton.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me look here.
There's before you go to the next one. The point is, there's so many of these retreads that nobody would care if they're gone.
No, nobody would care. Mark Canha, we know is okay. There's two right there that you could have got rid of and brought up Hunter Bishop. How about Well, you probably, let's see. How you feeling about David VR?
I like him, but he would be a yes, sir, because he's at this was his last season of options.
Yeah.
So he's going to be DFA'd no matter what.
Yep. How about
it didn't work out?
How about
I think he's still got a chance.
Yeah.
He's
27 now. Yeah. How about Kaiwei Tang?
A definite yes, sir. He'd probably be at the top of my list.
Okay. I think he's on the 60, but he'll take up a 40. Ethan Small.
Yeah, he's been on the 60 pretty much the whole year. Just another one of his like little try hard injury pickups. He's been hurt the whole year. I think he had a rehab stint somewhere, but yeah, I think he's on the 62. But regardless, yeah, you're paying him to rehab.
Here's another guy that I would have got off the 40. Kirk Casale.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
I'm not nothing against him, but you had Blake Sable. What do you need Kirk Casale in September for?
My thing with catchers is I'd always have 3 on. I think you need at least 3 on the 40.
Yeah, you do, but you got Sable, you got Murphy coming back next year, who's under contract.
Right. So at this point, yeah, I could understand why they made the move and to get him because
they needed him at the time.
Sable was struggling and Jackson Reitz was a total 0 at the plate. But to me, here's the thing with Casale. To me, that speaks more to the fact that they did a horrible job at catching depth throughout the organization. The fact that you had to go, text Casale to opt out of his Cubs contract and hop on the next red eye. Like that just speaks to the fact that you have no depth.
Yeah. I'm just looking through here. I don't know. I don't know much about this guy. He's 28. He's not Austin Warren. That's a journeyman guy.
He's like Bowman. It's just a waiver wire.
Yeah.
Pick.
Yeah. Yaz is okay if you want to bring him back as a 4th outfielder, but I don't want to give him $12 million.
Well, that leads me to my next 2 that are probably a little unpopular. And I like Conforto. I like him more than some people do, but he's not coming back. So my whole thing this whole September was, remember what the Angels did last year?
Yes, I thought they would do that.
Go play for a contender. Like you should have done that with him.
I thought they were going to do that.
What is the point of playing Conforto? And he went on a hot streak, and now we're winning all of these games. So we're ruining our draft position. We're not evaluating Matos.
Yep.
Like what was the point?
You and I are speaking the same language, Nick. That's why I like you. It's crazy. Conforto, they should have put him on waivers at the end of August.
He would have got picked up.
Yes. Why didn't they put him?
Would have loved him.
Yes. Why didn't they put him on waivers? It would have cost someone $3 million to take a shot at him. And somebody, like you said.
The only thing I've been thinking about this too, I'm like, why wouldn't they do that? Why? The only thing I can think of is maybe Conforto, he's actually been very positive in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he told them, I don't want to, my wife just had a kid or something. And, I know I'm not coming back, but I'd rather not do that. Please don't do that. And if that's the case, I can kind of understand it. You don't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, your reputation with players is already very bad as it is. So if that's the case, we're not in the room. So if that's the case, then maybe, okay. So
let me ask you.
That's something I don't know. But otherwise, I don't understand why, if you're going to keep him, you should have played Matos more at least.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you about this player, because this guy, some people really like him. Some people I kind of look at him as mid, Yeah. Gerard Encarnacion. What do you think?
Yeah, he's interesting. I don't know if
He's not awful, but he's not awful.
Here's the thing: he's got limited defense. He's not a. I don't even think he's a corner outfield. He's not
right.
You don't want him in left or right unless it's like an emergency. He is big, so I guess he could play first base, but he's not anything special. He's already 26.
Right.
I wouldn't lose sleep if they got rid of him. I'm not sure how many options he has. If he has an option next year, I guess he would be a good depth, but it's still small potato. Like, who cares at the end of the day?
Can he play every day as a DH, or is he strike out too much?
I don't think so. I don't think he's a viable option against righties, you know, day in, day out. I think he's, he went, like I said, I mean, but I want to get away from the platoons anyway.
Yeah.
So he's a decent option against lefties, but like, if you want, he's kind of like Yermin Mercedes. Like, he's not athletic.
Yep.
He has no versatility.
Mercedes. Exactly. He's the Mercedes. He's the, what's the guy? Eloy Jimenez.
I will say he does hit the ball very, very hard. And I know that's not everything. He did it. I think I was reading on Twitter the other day.
I agree, Philip.
I forget what game it was. He hit a ball 115, which is pretty damn hard. Like, that's in the upper threshold of the league. But the thing is, we didn't see the power. He got like 100. Played it. He had 4 home runs. You would have liked to see if he had hit like 7 or 8, then maybe.
Yeah.
But
what is your? I had somebody else in mind. I was going to ask you on here. What's your thoughts on? Oh, now I got it. The platoon at the end of the season. Is that Melvin making those calls, you think, or Farhan still? Making the call, Brett Wisely playing against right-handers instead of Casey Schmidt is the biggest one that stood out to me. What's your take on that? Who's making that call?
I might surprise people. I kind of think it's Melvin. And I'm starting to really get irritated with Melvin because if we look at this from Farhan's perspective, we made fun of him for his tune changing every 2 weeks, which is true. But if we look at this from his perspective right now, the only thing that's saving his job would be, young players playing really, really well. So if you ask me, if I'm Farhan, I want like Matos in there to go off, or I want before we option Luciano or send him to Arizona, I wanted Luciano to go off. That might save my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that look? Everybody talks conspiracy. We live in a life, there's always conspiracies, okay? There's always people in jobs, at certain jobs, talking, hey, let's don't do this. We want to get rid of this. Help me get rid of this guy. Happens in politics, happens in everyday life. So do you think that Melvin, I have a theory, Melvin's, a ball player. He's a catcher. Buster, big-time ball player, catcher. Manager, owner, they talk. I haven't thought that, yeah. I could see Melvin saying to Buster, I cannot manage this team the way I wanted to manage it. And I'm frustrated. You heard Melvin come out in an article a month ago, or less than a month ago, saying this was his most disappointing season of his career. And he made reference. He didn't put the blame, but if you read between the lines, he was basically saying, I should have went with my gut, and I didn't at times because he went with the analytics. Why say that if you're not trying to take a little bit of a shot?
I mean, we saw Farhan do it to Kapler. Farhan had to save his job. So he threw Kapler under the bus, and I think Melvin might be feeling the heat. And he might have thrown Farhan under the bus. My thing, though, is I think Melvin, and it's hard to fault him for this because he's a competitor, but I think, like, the Walton stuff, the fact that he's playing over Casey Schmidt, the fact that Wisely's playing over Casey Schmidt, he believes, I really do think that he believes, like, these guys they're going to, like, his whole thing is Luciano is not a second baseman. He's not going to help me win today. So I think Melvin I think he's been a little short-sighted. He wants to finish above 500 and finish on a strong note because that would look better for him. And the other thing is, people have mentioned this, they're playing playoff teams that are competing for wild card spots. and he doesn't want to just tank, which is understandable to an extent. But at the same time, you have to you have to look after your own organization first. Like, you owe nothing to these other teams. So my whole thing is you need to evaluate the young talent, win or loss, be damned.
Correct.
Great if you win. If you lose, you need to evaluate these young guys. Now, I don't think Farhan is blameless in this, but I do like the fact that Walt, here's the thing. He missed 2 bunts anyway, so he can't even execute.
Correct.
He can't even execute, and he's still getting run. I don't know. In fact, I want to mention, I was listening to the horrible Alex Pavlovich.
Mm-hmm.
He's a total bomb, but I was listening to his podcast, and he went on this big tirade in defense of Donnie Walton, and he said that the reason why Walton is up here is because the organization loves his attitude and the way he's handled things, and he's had a good year in Sacramento, so this is his reward.
Oh, my goodness.
Who cares?
He's 30 years old.
To be mean. He's 30. He has no future.
Right. This is absolutely incredible that this organization would put these things over, and the people that, where's the mindset of just, I listened to, let me look him up here before I forget. I don't want to misspeak. I want to check on a player because I heard him speak in the off season on MLB radio, and I'm just going to look up his stats. And let me see. Wait a minute. Okay. I'm looking up this particular player. Yep. It was Spencer Steer. He's 26, same age as basically Casey. Last year, the Reds let him get 582 at bats, and he hit 271, and he came back this year. He didn't have as good of a year this year as last year. He had a little bit more in the RBIs with less at bats, but he said last year getting all those at bats helped him, learn the league, learn the pitchers. And
yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to get reps.
And the Giants failed Casey Schmidt, Luis Matos, and Luciano this year. And I don't care what they did production-wise. They just needed to play and get at bats every day, because had all three of them gotten 500 at bats, I mean, look at what they did. There was room to get 500 at bats for Casey playing, and you still could have got Fitzgerald his at bats by moving him around. And Casey could have played short and second. Fitzgerald could have stepped in and given him a break here and there. Could have given a break.
And I think, honestly, the thing with Fitzgerald is I think his best position is center field. I really do.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, he does. They have some guys that can play center field. You got.
Well, and we went through that stretch where Ramos, I love him to death, but he's out of position in center.
Right.
You could have, and this is another thing with Yaz. This is the problem with Yaz. Put Ramos in right, Fitzgerald in center, and then go with Casey at short. Go with Fitzgerald a little bit at short, not every day. You could have figured it out that way, but because we have to play 34-year-old Yaz, it's like, isn't anyone tired of this?
Yeah,
aren't we tired of 230 Mike Yastrzemski? But a lot of Giants fans aren't. I'm actually shocked. Like, he has this huge fan base. I don't get it.
Yeah, Mark Graves says, Donovan Walton, when did we become a charity organization for players? Don't want mid players playing because they were
especially
good soldiers.
Give me 30-year-old with no future. It's one thing to, coddle Barry Bonds and, okay, we'll get you the rocking. Like, that's Barry Bonds. This is Donnie Walton.
I know. It's so laughable because It's just remarkable that this team continues to not develop its players.
And here's the thing that bothers me, and maybe you're right that it's more of a far-hand thing. Melvin was hired, and one of the things said about Melvin was he had a great track record of being a manager for all those A's teams had to develop players. Like Josh Donaldson wasn't an overnight success. Simeon went through his struggles, etc. So he had this great track record of being a good manager for teams like that.
Right.
And we've seen the opposite this year.
Yep. Philip Coppola says, and I remember this period. They were like 7-2, 8-1. I think the Giants were with Lucy. He said, in my opinion, the only time the Giants were exciting this year was that little time Matos, Luciano, and Ramos were playing all together. It sure didn't last long. No, because on that same road trip, Luciano had a couple of errors in the late innings. And so wasn't much longer than that. He made another mistake after they brought him in late in the game, and they said they made it he's injured, and they sent him down. And that was,
he never really found it at the plate in Sacramento after that.
No.
People don't understand when you constantly yo-yo these guys.
Yep.
And I think Matos has experienced this too, because he's been up and down like 4 times this year.
Oh, and I think this is why Farhan's gone. I really do. I will be shocked if they bring back Farhan. When I read the comment on an article in here last week from trying to remember who wrote it. I think it was Baggerly's article, might have been, when it said something to the effect that ownership was perplexed or something by the constant up and down movement of the roster. That told me right there that they've had it. They see, and you got to realize, I bet you the players are saying things to people. The players are saying, man, I can't get in. This is so frustrating. I can't get into a groove. I don't know what I'm doing. Where do I stand? Am I a major leaguer? Am I not a major leaguer? I'm up, I'm down. I make one mistake. This is ridiculous. And it's, because Farhan has treated the major league roster as though like a fantasy baseball team. Exactly. He's treated exactly like that. And that's, but at any rate.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's like, there's so many problems with Farhan, but I just want to, point out, like, everyone talks about, oh, well, he inherited this bad situation and bad contracts. And there were some bad contracts. Melanson was a bad contract. Longoria wasn't a bad one, but he wasn't a great contract. Posey was playing hurt and he needed the hip surgery, et cetera, et cetera. But look at, like you mentioned, the Bleacher Report ranking of the 30th ranked farm system. Everyone says, oh, the system's so much better now. Well, is it? I don't really think it is. We're at 30 now. You have Eldridge. That's your one hit.
Yeah.
And again, he hasn't even played the majors yet, so we don't want to count our chickens before they're hatched. But even if we give Farhan Eldridge, and let's just, for sake of argument, say, okay, he's going to be a superstar first baseman. You have nothing else, pretty much. You have a big problem at catcher with Patrick Bailey. You took him with, like I mentioned on the last show, you took him with the 13th pick in the draft, and he's Mike Matheny. And I've said from the get-go, this guy should be better at the plate than he is. I don't understand why he's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying, for the 13th pick. I mean, you look at his numbers versus, I'm going to pull.
Well, just look at the opposing catcher today, Gabby Moreno. Gabby Moreno on the D-backs he's also a good defensive catcher. He may not be quite as good at Bailey as at framing, but look at his batting average. Like he doesn't have much power, but he's an offensive threat.
Guys, I'm going to put this up for you guys in the chat, and I'm going to put some numbers up here see if I can, without you guys seeing who it is. Okay. Here it comes. This is, tell me this player right here, guys. Who is that player right there, guys? Does anybody see the numbers? WAR 2 point.
I think I know who it is.
Take a shot at it.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Joey Bart.
It is Joey Bart. 241 at bats, 64 hits, 13 homers, 266 batting average, 44 RBIs, a 341 on base percentage, 469 slugging, OPS of 810, an OPS plus of 123. Joey Bart, right there, guys. And that would have been your perfect platoon. That's the position you could have platooned.
Well, and I'm looking at the chat. I see Turd Ferguson's say Matos had 2 games in 1 week, player of the week, then didn't do anything else. All hype. That's it. Look at Joey Bart. This is the perfect example of what happens with young players when they actually get some run. So if you're going to write off a 22-year-old Matos after the yo-yo season, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Yeah. Look at Bart's numbers. There they are, right there again, guys. Joey Bart.
Look at Bart's numbers before this year. They looked worse than Matos.
Yeah, look at Bart's numbers in 23. He hit 207. Matos hit 250 last year. 207, only 87 at bat. Look, Joey Bart has as many at bats in his career as Matt Williams had his first 3 years. I'm not saying he's Matt Williams, but Joey Bart was never given a chance with the Giants. He was given in 2020, he was thrust in when he wasn't ready to play, when Buster Posey opted out during the COVID 60-game season. In 21, he got 6 at-bats. In 22, he probably wasn't going to be ready. He was probably going to spend the year in AAA and get, because he had many injuries in the minors. And then Buster retired, and they gave him 261 at-bats. And he hit 215. He struggled. And then, last year, 87 at bats. Come on. And then look at this year. Near 241 at bats, 270 plate appearances. Give this guy, he's the type of catcher you want on the team. Give you 300 plate appearances. He's going to hit you 15 home runs and drive in, close to 40 to 50 runs a year. And his bat, 266 for a catcher is darn good right now compared to what's out there. Believe me, I'm in fantasy baseball. I've got 4 games left in the season. I've got a lead in the league, and I just fired both of my catchers because they were bringing my batting average down, and they weren't giving me any runs production. They weren't giving me runs, RBIs, nothing. So I fired him. I'm going catcherless the final week of the season here.
Yeah, it's a brutal position offensively, and you had a guy with light tower power that you never really embraced. And I said from the get-go, the biggest mistake they made with Bart was bringing him up in that meaningless pandemic season. He was not ready, and it killed his confidence and stunted his growth. They never should have done that. They started his clock. That's when the options start. And he wouldn't have had, here's the thing, he wouldn't have had to be DFA'd this season if they had started him in 22 after Posey retired, he would still be here.
Right. They didn't have to throw him out there in 2020. They could have just thrown like a Sally type guy out there.
I know it was bad with Trump and Heinemann, but who cares? This, it was a meaningless season.
Right. Exactly.
But they were they would just gave in to fan demand, and sometimes the fans are right, but sometimes they're not. And when they're clamoring for the second overall pick when he's not ready, like, you got to ignore that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, let me see if I got my text from me. No, I didn't. I was doing it with a buddy earlier, and I had him text me, but I didn't receive it. I did a breakdown of who owns the tiebreakers in the. I know that Atlanta holds the tiebreaker over Arizona, and San Diego and Arizona are tied 5-5. They played 10. They split the 10. They're 5-5. San Diego just needs one more win. They got 4 games remaining to lock up the number 1 wild card and the home field. So that's almost certainly going to happen, or one Mets loss. So the Mets got to win 5 in a row, and the Padres got to lose 4 in a row for the Mets to get the number 1 wild card seed. So
Unlikely.
Very unlikely. So to me, in fact, let me bring up those standings for you guys, because we'll take a look at this and break it down.
Who do you think? Who do you like in the postseason?
I like the Padres I like the Padres and the Phillies in the National League. In the American League, I like probably the Yankees and my dark horse is in the American. Not really a dark horse, but I'd like to see Cleveland get there. I'd like to see Cleveland, but don't be surprised if Houston makes it again. They seem to pull things through. They started off awful. Remember, they were 10 games back early on in the season, and they won the division pretty easily.
I'm kind of interested to see. We don't know how it'll shake out yet, but if Detroit can sneak in with
Scooble, that you win game 1, you only need to win.
And they're hot. That's the thing.
Yep.
You want to be hot going into the post. The lineup, it isn't great, but I do think it's gotten better over the course of the season. So I'm interested in them. The Dodgers worry me because they have no pitching.
Yep, that's why I'm not picking them. I you know what I did? I had Torkelson on my fantasy team, and I looked at it, and I have Goldschmidt and Torkelson. And I'm like, who do I want to play today? Goldschmidt's in Colorado. I played Goldschmidt. He went 0 for 3. Torkelson 2 for 4 with a home run and a couple of RBIs, 3 RBIs. Totally.
Yeah, Torque has been pretty good ever since they called him back up.
Yep, that's why I picked. He was he was available on waivers, and I grabbed him. Okay, here's the wild card situation. We're looking at it right now with the American League, and let's just zoom in on this. It's pretty much a 4-teamer. The Mariners have an outside shot, but they're 3 back of the loss column with the Tigers. The Tigers have 4 left. The Twins have 4 left. The Royals have 4 left. The Orioles are pretty much locked in to the number 1 wild card. It's virtually impossible for them to fall out. They'd have to lose.
Aren't they still in play for the division?
Nah, not really. They're 4. Let me look. I think they're out of the division. Let me check. Yeah, they're 4 out with 4 to go. They have to win all 4. Yankees have to lose all 4, and I'm not sure who owns a tiebreaker. But okay, so magic number is 1 for the Yankees. So let's look at this. I looked at the tiebreakers, and I forgot. Well, my buddy didn't send them to me. I asked him to. He didn't get them to me. I looked at the Royals, Tigers, and see who gets that, and Twins. I could do it real quickly if I pull it up, but hey, somebody in the chat, do me a favor. Look at the Royals, Tigers, Royals, and the Tigers, Twins, and the Royals, Twins. See who owns the tiebreaker on those. And I think it's going to be. See, the Royals got to play the Braves this weekend in Atlanta, and both teams are desperate. And the Royals may have gotten a bad break today. You know why? Because tonight, Chris Sale was supposed to pitch, and tomorrow was Max Fried. I think they get bumped to Friday and Saturday. They're not going to push those guys to Monday to face the Mets. They got to win every game. And if you push them to Monday in the doubleheader and you happen to win the doubleheader and get into the playoffs and knock the Mets out, you just knocked out Chris Sale and Max Fried for the playoffs. They won't be available to pitch Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday if they pitch Monday. So I think Sale goes Friday night against the Royals, and Max Fried goes Saturday. And I think the Royals, they could probably still have enough to hold off the Twins because the Twins have just tanked.
Yeah,
they have just tanked.
Well, they're a swing and miss team, so actually I'm not surprised because this is what happens when you're so into power and swing and miss. You go through prolonged stretches like this.
Yeah. Let me see if anybody's done the chat yet. Looked up the Tigers. No. You know what could happen is we could get a tie between the Tigers and the Royals. And if the Tigers get that first home game with Tariq Skubal pitched yesterday, so he's scheduled to pitch Sunday if
they need it.
If they need it. But if they're in, I think they rest him.
I can't believe they're in such great. I mean, they're 2 up. Who would have thought they'd be 2 up with 4 to go? That's crazy.
Yeah. You know what? No one in the chat. Do I got any helpers? Nope. I got to do it myself. Okay. I'm going to look this up myself. I got to do it the hard way. Is there a way to just do it? Let me see. Instead of looking at the schedule, let me just put Detroit Tigers versus KC Royals this year. Detroit Tigers versus KC Royals 2024. Okay, here's the matchups. Okay. StatMuse. Okay, Tigers. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Haven't they played more than 5? Or do they finish with each other? This isn't helping me. I got to go to the schedule. I got nobody in the chat helping me. All right. Bear with me. Got to do it the hard way.
Pulled up an article. I don't know. It says Royals have tiebreaker against the Mariners and Tigers.
All right, I'm pulling the schedule up. I'm going to do it the hard way and look. Okay, whose schedule am I looking at?
The Twins have the tiebreaker over both the Tigers and the Royals.
Interesting.
So,
all right, let's see if this matches. I'm looking at the Tigers schedule, and I'm looking at the Tigers versus KC, and I'm going to go through. Okay, they played in April. The Tigers won 2 of 3, so 2-1 Tigers. They played in KC in May. The Tigers got swept, so 4-2 in favor of KC. 4-2 in favor of KC. They played in August. 5-2 KC, 6-2 KC, 6-3, 7. Yep. They got 7 at least. I don't need to count anymore. So KC has the tiebreaker. You were right on that. And what was the other one you said?
The Twins have the tiebreaker over the Tigers and the Royals.
Okay, so the Twins own the tiebreaker over both the Twins and the Royals. The Tigers have none of it.
The Tigers only have a tiebreaker against the Mariners if that comes into play. That's it.
Okay. So the Tigers should be fine. They got the White Sox at home.
They just got to win a couple games.
They win tomorrow. They're playing who are they playing tomorrow again? They're playing Tampa at home. And then they got the White Sox at home for 3. I mean,
hey, the White Sox have held off history 2 nights in a row. Maybe the White Sox go on a miracle run to avoid history.
What if it's a 3-way tie? Mark Graves says. The
Twins have the tiebreaker over both, and the Royals have the tiebreaker over the Tigers. So I guess it would go Twins and Royals.
I mean, I think the Tigers win 3 of their next 4 and they're in. I mean, I think they might win all 4, but they're should
probably going to win all 4.
They should win 3 of 4.
Who's pitching tomorrow? They should.
And you got
playing the Rays tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, the pitching matchup.
They're pitching Tyler Alexander, who's a gas can. So, yeah, that looks like a W for Detroit.
Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, yeah, you got Reese Olson going for the Tigers against Tyler Alexander. Jeez.
So the Twins if I'm the Twins, I'm kind of paying attention to the Royals. The Royals really screwed up by getting swept by the Giants. That was so bad to them.
Oh, my goodness. Crazy.
And now they got to play the Braves. Let's see. They play the Braves on Friday. It's undecided for Atlanta. Like you said, they're probably because they had the
they're not going to push. They're not going to push Sale till Monday.
Going on Friday.
That would actually be really dumb on 2 parts to push them, Sale and Fried to Monday. Here's why. They last pitched. They were going to be going on 4 days rest tonight. So now you take 2 days off. And so he's already going on 6 days rest. You don't want a starting pitcher going on 8 days rest.
Yeah.
Not ideal at all. And then if you don't win against Kansas City, if you can't beat Kansas City with your best pitchers, and you probably don't deserve, at home, you're saving them for the Mets. It may be meaningless because you may
do it for no reason.
Yeah.
And then everyone's pissed off.
Yeah. So I think and they're not available to pitch in the playoffs if you pitch Monday.
Yeah, I would pitch him that's how I would do it, because you're going to need to win as many as you can. So you should pitch them as soon as possible. And then you figure if it comes down to it, you figure you got enough bullpen arms. Like the Braves have a good pen. You could figure out the extra game on Monday, and then then you have yourself set up for your top guys being ready for a potential wild card series, because that's going to be pushed back later into the week anyway.
The wild card's starting Tuesday.
Oh, no matter what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you pitch, I mean it's go time. I mean, if you pitch somebody Friday, let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
The best thing that can happen.
Sale would be a guy who would go on 3 days rest. So
yeah, the best thing that can happen if Major League Baseball doesn't want to avoid a possible catastrophe PR situation, is that those games on Monday are not necessary. It would be exciting, but kind of like a college.
I will say, looking at the Royals, though, they have their best 3 going this series against the Braves. They have Singer lined up on Friday. They have Seth Lugo on Saturday, and then Cole Reagan's on Sunday.
Okay, so it's gonna be interesting. And let's see, the Mets have on Friday, the Mets
They
are
gotta
playing
play
the
Brew Crew, but Brew Crew they probably might be done. Like
they're locked in. The Brewers are locked into third. So it's Mania against Frankie Montas. I think that's advantage Mets. And then Saturday, you've got the Mets. You've got they don't have the pitching on Saturday yet. Okay, they don't have the starters named. And then Sunday, and the Mets caught a break here too because Lindor's been out, and he was going to play tonight. He was earlier penciled in the lineup, but he gets 2 more days of rest. Doesn't have to play till Friday. Sunday, the Mets, and they don't have the starters announced there either. So it's going to be kind of wild. So the Mets go against the Brewers for 3, and the Padres.
And that's in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, in Milwaukee. So let's look at this. Padres need 1 win to get to 92 and 67. The Mets are 92 and 70. And the Padres own the tiebreaker over the Mets, I think. Let me double check. I did that earlier. Oh, I got to go back and do it again. I had somebody write it down for me. And I said, write this down and send it to me. And I didn't get it. And I didn't want to write it down because I was doing all the figuring.
Well, I will say, the way this race was shaping up in the middle part of the season when there were so many 500 teams, I'm glad that it's come to this where it's a lot more exciting. And a lot of these teams, maybe besides the Twins, deserve, the chance. Like they've played their best ball down the stretch. So I'm happy for that. I still would prefer the old format where there's only 1 wild card. I don't know why we went away from that. 3 division winners, 1 wild card. Now we're kind of saturated, but at least it's not a situation where, the Giants are, 82 and 79 and if we win today, we can sneak in.
Right. You got to win at least
their job.
89 minimum this year to get in, it looks like. Maybe 90. So. Okay. Between the Padres and the Mets, Mets, they would have faced each other at least 6, probably 7 times. I'm looking here. Padres. Okay, they played in New York in June. Padres won. Wait, I'm looking at the Mets schedule. Okay, forgot. All right, Mets won 2 of 3 Mets won 2 of 3, and then they played again in August, a 4-game series in San Diego. They split the 4 games. So the Mets own the tiebreaker over the Padres, right? Yeah. So the Mets can win 92 if they win all 5. The Padres, actually, their magic number is 2 then over the Mets, because if they win 92 and the Mets win 92, the Mets win. So the Padres really need to win 2 more games. So Arizona might be it's tough for Arizona because Atlanta owns the tiebreaker. Yeah. And they really
needed to win today.
And they have the same number of losses at 71. So Arizona and Atlanta, if the D-backs win 3, the Braves would have to win all 5 to catch them. But if the Braves, let's say the Diamondbacks win 2 of 3 against San Diego, That's might be the likely scenario.
Right.
They go 90 and 72. The Braves need to go
Have to win 4
4 out of 5. So
And that's a
Diamondbacks,
tough ask considering the pitching they're facing.
Padres really are. I mean, Diamondbacks really hurt themselves losing 2 or 3 to the Giants.
Yeah. If they had lost today, it would have been like nuclear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, well, let's close it out here. What do you think about that, Nick? Giants' biggest winning streak of the season, 5 games, comes to an end. Is that pathetic? They waited all year to win 5 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the story of this team, just mired in mediocrity, not very exciting outside of a couple players. I predicted it before the season. I said they actually did better than I thought. I thought 76 wins before the season. They
I
had better than that.
I had them around 77, 78 is where I projected them to be. For the longest time, I said 78, 79, and then I didn't think they'd make it there. I really didn't think with going on this 9-game road trip, I thought they were going to go at best 3-6.
I've always thought the Royals were playing over their head this year. I know they have the pitching and Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the Giants to sweep them, but I wasn't totally shocked by that. But, even though the Giants won 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks, today's game was kind of like, just look at the Diamondbacks lineup. Corbin Carroll, you got Suarez, you got Ketel Marte, one of the most underrated superstars in the game. Jock Peterson provides thump.
Yeah.
It's just night and day, the lineups, man.
Yeah, it really is. And I was hoping Marte would do better. He's on my team too. So 1 for 5 tonight. But anyway, guys, thanks Nick for being part of the show. Great.
Thanks for having me.
Great information as always. Nick, you're on Twitter. Where can guys follow you on Twitter? Because I know you do some lives, meetups. I don't know what do they call that on Twitter?
I haven't really done any. I was just doing it as a test that one time.
Oh, okay.
But I'll put it's called Twitter Spaces.
It's
just kind of like an audio hangout.
Oh, okay.
So people can join and everything. And if I get more followers, I'll definitely consider it because I have a lot of thoughts on the Giants, and I'm sure I'll have more once we kind of figure out the direction of where they're going.
Yeah, put that in the chat,
season.
and I'll
put my handle in the.
I'll put it up there, and then we can get everybody who's listening to go subscribe, and you can follow Nick on Twitter as he typed that
in the chat.
Okay, here we go, guys. Mog Dog. It's at Mog Dog DAWG Legacy. Like Georgia Dog, like them Bulldogs.
Right. Bulldog, yep.
Yeah. At Mog Dog Legacy, guys. Go give him a follow on Twitter or X. And
I also have takes on Niners and everything going on with them.
Great.
And I'm going to be tweeting about the Sharks too, because the Sharks are already in preseason and they're starting soon, and Celebrini looks really, really good. So that's exciting. I don't think the Sharks will be good this year, but the fact that we have some impact young talent on a team in the Bay Area is exciting. So I do Giants, Niners, Sharks. I don't do much basketball, even though I do like the Warriors and I like Steph Curry. I don't know as much about basketball, but
yeah. And I just realized tonight was Wednesday. I didn't have Cody on. Oh, I don't think he was available tonight anyway. But guys, thank you for being part of the show. We'll get the band playing here a little bit as we get ready to exit. There we go. Twitter at Mog Dog Legacy. That's his handle. Go on over there, check it out. Thanks for joining, guys. Giants have an off day tomorrow, Thursday night football, so I'll be watching football tomorrow night, and we will probably most likely take the night off unless something comes up. Maybe who knows? Maybe I get a last.
Gets fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Kapler.
Yeah, just like on coming home. Yeah, maybe a long. Maybe I get some last minute guest with the off night. Maybe I reach out to Rich Aurelia, see if I can get him on. I got to call him back, or maybe Bill Lasky, somebody like that. I don't know. We've got. I got to just.
Bill's a good baseball man.
Yeah,
he would be a good get.
Maybe I will give Bill a call, and if I can get Bill on tomorrow night, that would be great. So, if there is a Bill Lasky or a Rich Aurelia, something like that happens tomorrow night, I will put it out early, and you guys will get the alert, so be ready for that. I need to get to those guys. Otherwise, we'll be back Friday night about 10 o'clock after Giants take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Thanks again to my guest, Nick. As Marcus Tanner says, Nick, another great listen. Dan, great show as usual. Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yep, thanks to Marcus. BC, our resident Dodger fan, says, go Dodgers.
I'm excited to see Ohtani Showtime in the playoffs. I hate to admit that, but
I'm excited. I love watching the guy, and I love meeting.
He's the closest thing to Bond. Like, he's must see TV.
Yep, I love watching him, and I love even having him more because he's on my fantasy team. Thanks to my good friend over there, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate you giving me Ohtani. You know what? It was crazy. Usually I'm the one going after proposing the trades, and I just
didn't want that Dodgers stink on his fantasy team.
Yeah, I had just acquired Ellie De La Cruz from Eric, and Eric and I had made a deal, and Glenn was like, "Oh man, I wanted Ellie," and he goes, "So I go." He goes, "What? You got Ellie? What do you?" I go, how about Ohtani? And he not only gave me Ohtani in the deal, he gave me Spencer Steer, he gave me Yamamoto, Blake Snell.
Oh, wow.
And somebody else.
That must have been good for you in the second half.
Oh, it was. It was huge. Snell was huge. Actually, at one point, I says, you know what? How about if you just keep Snell? Because he was so awful. He says, nope, I'm not. If you get rid of Snell, I'm getting rid of the deal. So that's what
we call a happy mistake.
Yeah, I just immediately hit the accept button. It was a wild trade. In fact, let me tell you what. There was 5 for 5, and I got how many minutes I got? I got a few.
Yeah,
minutes.
we got to before we end. We got to hear what he got in this because it couldn't have. I don't know if he could have got anything for. Well, I guess he got Ellie, right?
He got Ellie. He got William Contreras, the catcher for the Brewers, and Jason Dominguez
fell off, right?
Yeah, Jason Dominguez from the Yankees, who never did anything, was one of the guys. And I had just picked up Jason Dominguez just to have on my on my 40 man basically. Okay, I got to go back and find this trade because it was. Hold on here. It was.
Yeah, the Yankees kept playing their fan. I've been following.
Okay,
fans play Verdugo over Dominguez for some reason.
Here's the deal. This is pretty fun. I traded away. I got Spencer Steer, Shohei Ohtani, Kenley Jansen, Blake Snell, and Yamamoto. When Yamamoto was pitching great before he got hurt. For William Contreras, Ellie De La Cruz, Nolan Gorman, Jason Dominguez, and Hugh Darvish.
Oh, God. Gorman was horrible this year.
I know.
He got optioned Didn't he get sent down?
I'm not sure if he did or not.
He was hitting like 180. Yeah, I think the Cardinals sent him down. He was swinging and missing so much.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That,
Sorry, Glenn.
Yeah, that was my fun trade, and
that's a season changer right there.
It was a season changer. Yeah, and I had also in the trade earlier, I had given away DJ LeMahieu, Yandy Diaz, Kyle Bradish, and Seth Lugo for Austin Riley and Ellie De La Cruz. That was what I got from Eric. I rode Riley for a long time, and then he got hurt. So I've had a lot of injuries. I've had.
I don't play fantasy too much, but he's a pretty good because he gets all those steals, right?
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he's great to have. Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have him, but if Shohei.
Yeah, you definitely came out better than that.
Yeah. You win some trades. I lost some trades this year too. I made some trades that didn't work out. But we'll see how the league goes.
Yeah, I should play with you guys next year because sounds like I could make a killing off Glenn. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, pal.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we are going to get out of here. We'll be back Friday night unless we get a guest tomorrow. If I get a guest, we will bring in the guest, let you know. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Have yourself a great Thursday. Take care. Have a good night, everybody.